There isn't a stop. Oh no, it's just reset itself. And now it's reset itself to a nice empty page.
Good. Oh, look, hey, that's great.
Switch to broadcast mode.
Yeah, just come back to us.
Gwen says lowering the resolution brought the sound back for me. Okay, how's that? Are we doing good? All right, very nice.
You see it? You see us? We see us. How y'all doing? Wait, we switched seats today, and it feels weird.
Oh, here we are. Hello. Are we on a different camera with a whole different operation?
Wait,
yes, we are.
Can you guys hear us? Welcome to Torn Tuesday again. Works fine now, even on high. Yeah, we just got our stuff started. You know, we have the greatest, wonderful technologies. Everything from we stream with an iPad, we stream with an iPhone, we stream with our MacBook. Sometimes we stream with a Black Magic, and sometimes we use a $45,000 TriCaster. And you know which one doesn't work most of the time?
The $45,000 specialty equipment that is supposed to give us the best results.
It's what all the newsrooms, CNN, MSNBC, Fox
True.
News, the local news, like it is enterprise level, rack mounted. This is everyone wishes they had one, and it's the one that doesn't work most of the time. But we're glad you joined us. This is Torn Tuesday for Tuesday, August 12th. Yeah, let's hear it from the audience. Yay! Yay! That's our crew. You know who I like? That late night show that has the accent. Who's that guy that has the accent on the Late Show?
Craig Ferguson?
Yeah,
he's a great storyteller.
He always acknowledges his crew. And
he should, yeah, of course, absolutely.
He's a great guy.
And we often do as well when we're at Torn events, and we always acknowledge our behind-the-scenes folks.
This Tim Dolph says frozen video and audio.
Oh, yes.
Wow, much better. But we're getting other people that says much better. Hello, welcome everybody. I'm rocking Kangol because LL Cool J is my hero, and I'm so fresh. I keep the tag on.
That's
how fresh.
Very. Francisco, is he going to get like mites or head lice or something from wearing your hat?
I
know, right? Well, talk to me about having no hair.
Yeah. I want to be just like you when I grow up.
So let's begin the show properly now that we have full-on audio and video. Is everyone okay with us now?
I think so.
We have to say, again, station identification. Welcome to TheOneRing.net.
I'm Justin.
Weekly live show.
That's Cliff.
Yeah, I'm Clifford. This here is Justin, and we come from various perspectives of the Tolkien fan community.
He's a published, award-winning Tolkien author, scholar, writer of 3 books, and producer of an award-winning documentary.
2 books.
As well as the creator and head of the Green Books, one of the most award-winning sections of TheOneRing.net. And I haven't read The Hobbit.
And that's the conversation as we have our little Siskel and Ebert slant between us. I guess you can tell who's got more gravity over here if you follow this line right here. The idea is that I love Justin to pieces, but we like to pick at each other. It's quite funny. But he's an excellent co-host.
And our biggest difference is that I love Desolation of Smaug, and I
was disappointed with
loathes it
most
with every fingernail in his body.
No, I loved Thranduil's Halls, and I thought that Lake Town was kind of cool.
But the cool thing about being a fan in Tolkien fandom is that there's no there's respect for all levels of fan, and unlike most other fandoms, there's no scorn or kind of debate like you're less of a fan because you haven't read the books, or you're less of a fan.
Not quite. How could we have scorn towards Elijah Wood when he admits he hasn't read the book?
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't read the movie, and even though he the whole story going into Lord of the Rings, and you watch all the appendices, he made that pitch video. He went out in Santa Monica Mountains. He wanted this role without wanting this role. Without reading the book.
Cliff, what is your day-to-day job? Well, hello, Jan. Is it Jan? Or is it Jan? It might be Jan Nicolasen. Hello, Jan.
Nicholson.
Yes, I actually do a lot of work
voiceover
at voiceover and audiobooks. I just started doing audiobooks through Audible.com this year, and that's the branch of Amazon.com that does audiobooks, and been having a great experience traveling the country, doing presentations, and I teach chess at a private school here in Hollywood.
He's so smart.
I teach chess to
I
little
can barely
kids.
win at checkers.
These little kids learning how to play chess from someone like me. It's comedy, let me tell you.
There's a
lot
comment.
of comedy.
What about Tolkien purists? We call them Tolkien fundamentalists.
Also known as purists. Well, there's Shakespeare purists. There's
I love.
There's
I love
Stephanie
their
Meyer
name.
purists out there, I'm sure.
I love her name, Rocket Hobbit. Instead of
Yes.
Rocket Raccoon, it's Rocket Hobbit.
but it's still
I
Rocket.
totally need a Tumblr drawing of Rocket Hobbit.
We love Rocket.
With an
do.
ent. A little Rocket Hobbit with an ent.
Oh my gosh, you are too
I
funny.
am ent, and a little
I
Rocket
am.
Hobbit with his
I am
slingshot. Like
You could say I am Quickbeam in the Groot voice, and you could probably create much of the same effect. I am Treebeard. I am Quickbeam. Name any ent, and there aren't many of the ents in the books that actually have names. My character, avatar nickname on TheOneRing.net has always been Quickbeam for the past 15 years.
Mine's Justin.
You've never had an avatar nickname. You've never had one.
I'm
An online nick. Everybody has an online nick,
speaking
right?
from other fandoms, I come mostly from the Star Wars fandom, where I was lined up for 6 weeks for Star Wars Episode 1 and 2 and 3, at 6 weeks each time. But I discovered Star Wars at the special editions. The first time I ever saw Star Wars was in theaters on the special edition.
Yes.
And so entering into fandom and becoming part of the Star Wars community. And I'm in a bunch of Star Wars documentaries now.
Yes, indeed.
That I was a second-class fan because I hadn't seen the originals first, and I appreciated what George Lucas was trying to do with the special editions. And I was considered a second-class fan because I hadn't, I hadn't seen the source material. And then I got a little bit of that on the Harry Potters, where I'd spend a few nights in line, camped out to be the first person to see Harry Potter movies at the Chinese theater, and I was so engaged and enraptured by the first movie of Harry Potter that I just wanted to be the first to see it every time. But I hadn't read the books before the movies, and I was less than a second-class fan. I just didn't exist.
Well.
But then here, within Tolkien fandom,
It's not like that at all, is it?
It's
not like that at all.
We joke and laugh, and Roy Tolkien made me pinky swear and take a drop of blood from my fingerprint in wax that I would read The Hobbit, that his great-grandfather wrote. But there's no that disdain, and there's no second class of fandom or anything, and this goes into one of the wonderful articles that we just posted last week,
Which we did,
which is a rare interview with the president. He's not a CEO because it's a non-profit foundation, so he's kind of like the president, I guess, of the Tolkien Society, based out of England. And it's a wonderful interview. In fact, that one article was our most clicked on article of the whole week last week. In fact, people are still tweeting about the interview with the head of the Tolkien Society, and he says some great things. That it's not about hating on the book. It's not about hating on the movies, and it's not about hating on the movie lovers. It's just that the Tolkien Society loves the books most, and so their charter is to spread the gospel of the books.
Yes.
And to make sure that as many people read the books as possible.
Indeed.
But they recognize the value that the movies have. That just goes to show it's not just the One Ring, it's not just it's the Tolkien Society, and it's all a fandom. It's so inclusive, and that is such a rare thing. And if you saw our other article, top 8 reasons that we think The Hobbit totally won San Diego Comic-Con, I touch on this on the last bullet point. Tolkien fandom, Middle Earth fandom, really still feels that it's in control of the fans and by the fans, and I really feel that. You walk around, you see all the cosplay, and you see the fan panels that we're lucky enough to host once in a while. And there's a lot of fandoms: Marvel, DC, Batman, Superman, Avengers, Guardians, Star Wars, but they all are on their own path, right? The studios have a lot of money on the line and a lot of risk on the line, and so they're in control of the destiny, and they determine what gets made, what doesn't, what toys get made, what characters get their own movies. And any fan input is not. It doesn't feel like the fans have as much input on the characters as it does in Tolkien. We know we've done a few episodes here explaining how we know for a fact that Peter Jackson and Warner Brothers listen to the fans.
Yes,
and they are paying attention,
yes,
and they make changes in the films. They make changes in the marketing based on what the fans say. And we've have 15 years. The One Ring's been around for 15 years. We have proof and examples of 15 years of fan reaction that has resulted in actual changes in the movies.
Indeed.
And we still get that. We still get that feeling. There's only one shot of Azog in the Hobbit 3 teaser trailer, and it's him on a cliff in the back.
Yeah,
like you only see
just
him
his back to him. Yeah.
And you do see a close up of Bolg in that crazy scene that we mentioned.
Face to face with Bilbo.
Clever editing, but
and it's not clever editing. It's actually confirmed by the back of the beer bottle.
It's confirmed.
The beer bottle,
yeah,
confirms that Bolg meets an unexpected enemy. It's on the back of that new Bolg beer. We did a little story about this brewery in Washington State that has licensed beer, Gollum beer and Smaug beer, and they even have a Bolg beer. And on the back of the label it says, Bolg is fearless against anyone until, it says on the label, until he meets an unexpected foe. And who do you suppose that is? Well, we know from the teaser trailer, it's Bilbo against Bolg.
We that was a brand new thing.
It's not clever editing. That's the real deal.
We got a lot of questions, a lot of support, a lot of love. Lord of the Rings, Torn is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
really
much
appreciate
for all that.
The interview is fantastic with the Tolkien Society. We highly recommend, and we've always been inclusive. Even our friends that founded TheOneRing.com. Marcus and Jonathan Watson, who registered their domain mere hours before TheOneRing.net was registered.
Mere hours.
So it's really fun. We got a question here from Jan, or Teteris. Let's do that. I'm curious, Justin, to what extent do they really pay attention to their market, and whom will they know will see the movies and buy the merch, even if they are ignored? We've done a couple. We've done a couple episodes here where we've gone through the history of the One Ring. I think the history of Torn, or hashtag Torn15. There, we've done a couple episodes where we actually went through all the fan debates, and we hosted a couple panels at Denver Comic Con where we went through the history of the One Ring, and we showed all the fan debates and the fact that the fan debates that started out the One Ring from scoops and leaks and spy reports led to Peter Jackson and Warner Brothers actually changing some of the stuff in the movies. So look for that on our YouTube channel, Torn15. Jan brings up, I just recently discovered your Fangirls movie project, actually after the funding was canceled on Indiegogo. What's the status on that? So the funding wasn't canceled. It was a 60-day campaign, a month and a half.
A month and a half.
As Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
Would that be 60 days? That's 2 months.
It was 45 days.
45 days. Yeah,
45
that's about
days.
right. Yes.
We have this Fangirls project. As you know, Happy Hobbits, Kelly and Alex, they're wonderful people, and you were here with us on the very first video appearance before they had a YouTube channel or anything. They stopped by our show because they were fans just like you, and they used to send us drawings of ourselves, and they were just watching, and then they said, "Hey, we're coming to LA. Can we be on the show?" We're like, "Yes, absolutely." Well,
and then it all just went downhill from there.
So we've
Yes.
been following them for the last year and a half, along with those wonderful sisters, the Hillywood Show. Hannah and Hilly.
Aren't they fun? Aren't they funny?
Who have racked up
Yes.
100 million hits on YouTube and now are signed to the Nerdist Network. And then we've been following our friend Bonnie, Bonnie Gordon, aka Bonnie Baggins, who has a wonderful story of just being the ultimate nerd girl. Didn't have many friends, had a Forrest Gump type upbringing with the physical disabilities and overcoming all that, moving to LA, and now Bonnie Gordon is kicking butt on The Quest. She won
as Paladin Bonnie on The Quest.
She won the first episode, straight up won it.
Yes,
and she's doing so well. And it's just like, well, we found Cliff and I, all of our friends, just happen to be the ultimate fangirls, happen to be doing professionally what most people just consider fandom.
Indeed. How do you take just being a fan and then professionally become such a high-profile fan that everyone in the world knows what you're doing, and you become a media sensation? This is what's happening with these lovely, talented young ladies, and part of our approach to Fangirls as a documentary is to actually tell the story in a film about how geek culture has really started to change. It's changed in many, many ways. Most obviously, the welcoming and openness of the female fans, who never, back in the 70s, and the early 80s, those female fans never had a place in comic book culture the way they do now. So different the way things are now, don't you think?
And we've been chronicling fandom for 15 years. Cliff has won a bunch of awards. The projects I've been involved in have fortunately received some notoriety and success. Starwoids, the Ringers, Indie Fans, The People versus George Lucas. We've done many documentaries that have been fortunate enough to break through and actually become things that you can watch on iTunes and Netflix, which is a feat in itself. So you document in Ringers, you documented the history of Tolkien fandom, and I've been tracking Star Wars and Indiana Jones fans for over a decade, and we've noticed an actual genuine change in what the fan audience looks like at all these conventions. We did 14 conventions last year, and the population is changing. There's more and more fangirls than fanboys at these conventions. And the cool thing about fangirls is what rock stars and the music industry has known for decades is that they scream louder, they line up longer, they dress up more, and they spend more. And the driving force in fandom for the next, DC just announced 9 new superhero movies at Warner Brothers. Marvel has Phase 3 to contend with after Avengers 2. And we've got 6 new Star Wars films. So basically, the next 8 years is going to be full of 20 plus geek and comic book related movies, and girls will be at the forefront of that. Unfortunately, and the reason we want to make this documentary, Fangirls, is that the marketing departments and these big conglomerates are not acknowledging the girls. How many Hobbit costumes are in the girls' aisle at Halloween?
It's very interesting to see how there are holdouts, little pockets of resistance within other industries that are all related to our consumption of pop culture. And they're still resisting the presence of female dollars and female interest in this marketplace.
In these things.
Isn't that interesting?
It's just not there's no Hobbit toys in the girls' aisle. There's no Hobbit costumes at Halloween for girls. And there's a big hullabaloo right now that all of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters got toys except for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
The female characters in Guardians of the Galaxy, they're missing. Missing some of the stuff. You want to answer that? We got to call on the Torn hotline.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm actually in the middle of posting updates. Well, let's use this phone here. And
we just missed it.
We didn't lose it. Did we lose that call?
You got to answer that one next time. You can call us at 530-64 Frodo.
You guys are welcome to call back. Please be part of the show.
So the best way, what we found making the documentaries that we have is the best way to affect change in today's society is by making a movie. You can have petitions.
Another way of saying that is to tell a damn good story
in a movie.
A book, a best-selling book,
in a movie
might achieve the same thing.
No, because the book will get optioned into the movie, and it's not until a movie is made that change happens. And the best example I can give, which has nothing to do with our subject.
This is an interesting thesis. Please continue.
The best way you can get people to think about their eating habits for fast food was not all of the data and all of the stats and all of the new rules and regulations and laws. You know what it was?
It was a documentary
called Super Size Me. Okay?
Yes, it was a documentary film.
Second example.
That's correct.
For decades, for two decades, environmentalists have been screaming at the top of their lungs that SeaWorld and the act of capturing and putting killer whales on display was dangerous for both humans and for the animals. But nobody cared. In fact, SeaWorld saw major growth because nobody cared until
a documentary
called Blackfish came.
Called Blackfish.
And now,
that is correct.
now people
I
are
start
all
to
aware.
see where you're going with this thesis. I start to see.
So it's not a thesis. It's proven.
It's also quite probably likely to say that the Lord of the Rings films would not have been made to the level of popularity.
Girl. Call back.
It's probably safe to say that New Line Cinema and Peter Jackson would not have made 3 Lord of the Rings films if it had not been for the worldwide, multi-generation, well-established popularity of the books. The Lord of the Rings first. Hello. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. Thank you for being part of our show.
Hello.
Hi there.
Who's calling?
Token Girl.
Well, hello, Token Girl. Welcome back to the show.
Hello.
Thanks.
So what makes you call into the show today?
The whole thing about fangirls, because that is totally interesting to me since I am a fangirl. And I agree with a lot of things that you're saying. Like, I find that fangirls still aren't listened to and aren't really well represented. Even though, like, we have had now a bigger role in movies and stuff like that, girls, people like Katniss and Triss from Hunger Games and Divergent, and especially, like, even in the Lord of the Rings movies, Eowyn, she's a role model for me. I love her.
Absolutely.
So our favorite character, Eowyn, for many people. Yeah, how many toys, figures, costumes, how much merchandise is available for that character?
None. I haven't seen any ever.
Yeah, where were the toys and the toys and action figures for Hunger Games, and would they even be in the girls' toys aisle with the other girls' toys? Would they be?
No, I go to Walmart and I go to the girls' toys aisle because I still go shopping there, and I see Barbies, I see pink, I see purple, I see such stereotypical stuff, and it hurts because that's the way people see girls. And fangirls are frowned upon. I know with myself that I get made fun of a lot at school for being a fangirl, for liking the things I like. And just because I don't wear dresses, I don't like pink, I do stuff that's not inherently girly. I do archery, horseback riding, I go swimming, stuff like that.
Badass.
And people frown upon that.
It's funny. Nobody has any cause to frown upon anything. A lot of people in this world, it's kind of funny, we're all different, we all have our individual tastes and our individual interests. Now here's where we get to the pop culture part of it. You, my dear, are now part of a community of people who celebrate these interests. We all share these interests together, and that's one of the great things that we want to talk about.
I know, I've been accepted so well, especially from the Tolkien community. I absolutely love going on the chat because everybody's so accepting, and nobody judges, and it's just really nice. I swear it's an online family now.
And it's not just online. I mean, all of our events, we try to do a meetup or event or party at every convention that we can. I mean, we just did one at San Diego called the Lake Town Luau, and I got to say, it was probably 80% women and mothers bringing their daughters, and you know, half of them in cosplay.
Yes,
and it is a safe, fun community that everybody respects everybody, no matter what your body type is. Everybody's there just having a good time. There's no judging or judgmental, you know, looks between people at all in Tolkien fandom.
Well, I know. I went to my local Comic-Con just this year, just in May, and there were way more girls there than there were guys. There were so many girls dressed up in the characters they liked, and the whole showroom floor was basically girls. But still, even the guys there would just give us really weird looks, like, what are you doing here? This is Comic-Con, you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
And I know that doesn't represent all Comic-Cons everywhere, because I've heard that, like, San Diego Comic-Con, the big ones, are really accepting of everybody. But, like, the local ones, the smaller ones, it's still, what are you doing here? You're a girl, you're not supposed to be here. Comic books, movies, all this video game stuff is for guys. And
really?
It really bugs me a lot.
You still encounter that kind of vibe there at the local? Where are you at? Where's your local convention?
My local convention is, it's just where the Ottawa International Airport is. It's the convention center right across from that. That's where we have it.
Right.
Calumet? Where's that? I'm not sure what part of the country you're in.
I'm in Canada.
Oh, you're up in Canada. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. You know, we used to have a couple of big gathering of the fellowship Tolkien events back in the 90s. No, it wasn't back in the 90s, but in the early 2000s, there was a couple of Canadian events that I went to in Toronto that were really very, very nice. And they were mostly all women.
And nothing happens in Canada anymore, and even if it does, it's always in Toronto. It's never in Ottawa or anywhere, so I don't get to go anywhere.
That's too far, yeah.
We've been to a couple...
Yeah, that's another thing, because there's nothing for us really to go to. Like, we have, off the topic of Tolkien fandom, we have a Star Wars thing here called the 501st Ontario Ottawa Legion.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's really great because it's mostly girls.
Really?
Oh, that's cool.
And it's so much fun.
We should go up there and interview some of them.
And everything, and they come to events and stuff like that. And when you're part of it, it doesn't seem like anybody really judges you. Like, you'll see some people be like, they shouldn't be able to do that, but you get way more support when you're with a group of people who love doing it and you're supporting the community and everything. But when you're like at school and stuff like that, it's just terrible, because I get made fun of constantly for everything I like.
And that's completely crazy. Why? Like, there's no reason for that. Like, this isn't like this isn't something where there should be a gender line. You know, it's like, if you're a fan of something, you're a fan. And, you know, if you're a gamer, if you're a horseback rider, if you're a cosplayer, you know, it doesn't matter.
This is one of the reasons why Mattel Toy Company took so much shit when their Barbie doll toy came out with a pull cord, and the Barbie doll said, "Math is hard." Remember that? Do you remember the controversy around that? And they're like, why? It's like, why are you teaching a generation of little girls that they cannot apply themselves to science and math and all those other things that, you know, smart, intelligent young women would really like to get into? It's not just a boys' club, you know? And that's one of the reasons why the actress, who is Kate Mulgrew, you know, she played on Star Trek Voyager. In that TV series, she was the very first and still the only captain of a Starship Enterprise. And she said recently in an interview, Kate Mulgrew said, "You know why I like doing that show? It was really tough on me. It was a hard experience to do Star Trek. The TV series was aggressive with their shooting schedule. I was kept from my family. I couldn't be with my children as much as I wanted to be. But I was proud of the show and glad to do the show because I thought that it brought science to girls and taught them it's cool and it's very, very rigorous to show in a positive way that for women, they can be scientists, they can be captains, they can be geeks and be on that level of professionals where they're like highly regarded by Starfleet enough that they're going to get their own craft, their own ship." And I'm like, I get that, you know? I get that.
I agree entirely. And, like, I want to be an animator, and that's kind of something that's more in the guys' field. I watched even Hobbit vlogs and saw not that many girls in the animation, especially at Weta, but I wanted to do animation, and it looks like so much fun. I love drawing, I love writing, and they're saying in the chat right now that fan fiction is mostly written by women, and that you guys should include fan fiction and fan art in your fangirl stock if you do it.
Absolutely,
that's awesome.
Oh yes,
I do fan art. I love writing fan fiction, and I agree.
There's
fan authors get
that's great.
And certain
Great.
types of fan fiction can get their own publishing deal and then become the next 50 Shades.
You can never know. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, please not 50 Shades of Grey. Please no.
We're not going to do that.
The Twilight fanfic. The Twilight fanfic from hell.
I am honestly, as an experienced filmmaker, I did a very considerable segment in my first documentary. Remember Ringer's Lord of the Fans, Justin? We did a whole piece in that film about fan fiction, and we just started to touch on the tip of the iceberg, discussing slash fiction and how powerful it is for some creative talents out there to be inspired by a world of fiction that they love and then to go off and branch into their own and create new stories and subplots and other extensions for characters that never existed in the main world that are published. And we're definitely going to talk more about that in upcoming work on Fangirls. And you know what I have to say to you, my friend? Good on you, mate. As they say in New Zealand, good on you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep on fighting the good fight. And please don't take any flack from those turkeys. You know, stand tall and proud on your furry hobbit feet, and I guarantee you, you will be able to assert yourself to anything that comes your way in this world. Believe me.
Okay.
Okay. There. That's my pep talk to you today.
Well, thanks for calling.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Thank you for your perspective, dear. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. You know, if you're wondering what we're talking about, you can go to Indiegogo.com and just search for Fangirls: A Ringer's Tale. I think the page is still up. There's an email address and a Twitter account listed at the bottom. It's basically at Fangirlsfilm. And you can email us fangirlsfilm@gmail.com. But please email us. Tell us. Tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Yes, please do.
And people always make a big deal about crowdfunding, Indiegogo, Kickstarter is the wave of the future. But there's some key. It's not the end all be all. And the Fangirls Indiegogo campaign is proof of that. Because here we are on our own show, and half of the people here never heard about it. We went to 3 conventions: Denver, FantasyCon.
Yes.
We hosted panels. We were with the Hillywood Show. Bonnie's on freaking ABC TV every week. And Happy Hobbits have their own popular podcast. The Hillywood Show is even more popular, and still nobody found out about it while we were fundraising. It's a tricky thing. And so what we're doing...
It's a tricky thing.
It is.
That's the understatement of the month.
It's a
very tricky thing.
And so, the campaign wasn't successful, but the film is not dead. We're still shooting. We're still moving forward.
Yes, we are.
And in fact, the failure of the Indiegogo campaign has actually opened more doors. And we're, several people at major studios have actually approached us since then and say, hey, we saw what happened, we understand why it happened, but this movie still needs to be made. It's important.
Indeed.
It's important for not only our studio, it's important for the whole culture and society right now to see this.
We're very glad to talk to you guys about it at ground zero, at the very beginning of the project, when it's in the very nascent beginning stages. We're really glad to be right at street level with all the fans, all you guys and gals in this community, because it's your stories and your perspectives that matter most. As we as filmmakers want to tell everyone else what's really going on.
And it's a tricky thing. Making a film is the hardest thing you can do, because it's not hard like digging ditches or building walls, brick walls or block walls. It's reputationally it's exhausting. You put your whole life, your whole being, your whole reason for professional existence is on the line when you make a movie.
Yes, it is.
And if it fails, if you fail, if you don't do a good job, then your whole reputation has gone into that last project. There's a famous saying in Hollywood: "You're only as good as your last movie." And that is true, and that's true not only for actors and directors.
Yes.
And if your last movie cost $100 million and it didn't make $100 million, then you're done. It's true down at the lowest levels. I mean, documentaries are not entertainment; they're made with a purpose, with a passion. And you're only as good as what your last thing does. And
yes, Tolkien girl, we're very much seeing what you're chatting in the live chat room. This is really cool to have such an interactive live audience when we do this. This amazing. This amazing type of live stream is a great format.
This is why we do it. And
yes, you are a fangirl and you are proud of it. There's our poster right there. Thank you, Tolkien girl. That's great.
It's a tough thing.
I like your spark.
And it's not just me and Cliff. We've a group of our friends have generously provided their time and effort. Our friend Dennis, who's helped out a few times. He's been with us during this whole Fangirls journey. Dennis Prezara, he created and directed Starwoids, which was the very first award-winning fan documentary back in 1999-2000. Kevin Smith, that was Kevin Smith's first documentary.
Yes.
And then Dennis went on and was the editor on Jam, which was all about roller derby.
Yeah.
Roller derby girls.
I remember that.
And it won Sundance. It won South by Southwest. It went a lot of places. If you look it up, it's just called Jam. Jam. Award-winning. It's just the best. It is the de facto look at roller derby, female roller derby, and then he's gone on from there. And currently, Dennis has a film. His current film right now is at the Sundance Institute. It may be, and people are talking Oscar on it.
Oh yes, indeed.
It is called Street Fighting Man. It's about the fall of Detroit. He's followed 3 different people as they live their life in Detroit, and it's such. I just saw an edit. It is one of the most powerful movies. I mean, it's so powerful that the Sundance Institute, not the Sundance Film Festival, I'm talking the actual institute run by Robert Redford.
Yeah, I know the difference.
Is personally handling it, and everyone's talking Oscar. So we've got Dennis is just a top tier guy, and he believes that this movie needs to be made.
And he's on our side, which is great for us.
Yes,
it's great to be working with talented people.
So
as much as we chide each other on and play around on the show, I have to tell you how much I admire his scruffy filmmaking, streetwise approach to getting things done. He's quite effective. This guy's very effective at getting things done.
But the tough thing,
you bringing Dennis onto the project, and of course our continuing building relationship with Kelly Rice, who is an established young adult author and also co-host of Happy Hobbit.
Yeah.
When it comes to making the most money in Hollywood these days, it's all about YA. Those are the key letters. That stands for young adult. And everything like from Harry Potter, now moving into the worlds of Divergent, and obviously Hunger Games, all this stuff, and Twilight, even that all counts as young adult fiction. It is the hotbed of the publishing world. It's where everything is happening, and it's where all the best movie titles are cultivated from, or what they hope will be. They hope will be the biggest cultivated franchises from the successful worlds of young adult fiction. That's what it's all about right now. Kelly Rice is one of the hot new authors in the world of young adult fiction with Darkling, a highly recommended book. You guys can get your hands on it. And I just hope that...
yeah, but
I hope she gets her movie deal sometime soon.
Yeah, and you know, she's writing scripts for major studios, and she's done work for Weta, and she's on her way up. She's turned her fandom into a business, but you know, we have no illusions of you know, that one of the most important lessons that you can teach your child, or anybody can learn, is that it doesn't matter who you are. If you're the right person for the job, you're the right person. It doesn't matter age or gender. If you're the most capable and the best person to do a job, that's it. And you know, a lot of several people have pointed out what's three boys going and doing a movie about fangirls. I know what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
And no, it's not about us. It's about Happy Hobbits, and it's about the Hollywood Show, and it's about Bonnie. It's about that glass ceiling. It's about all of the issues that we've seen.
Yes.
Happen and transition because we've been uniquely at the forefront of fan filmmaking, you know, all the way back to Kevin Rubio when he was doing Troops on his computer.
Yes,
you know, like how come,
I do remember that.
So we've you know, us three guys have been at the forefront of kind of, you know, whatever this fan thing.
The answer? Hello, Jan. Jan, thank you. I would love that there should be a Cliff action figure.
Yes.
I'm so down for that idea you mentioned about half an hour ago. A Cliff action figure? I'm on it. I'm definitely down for that.
You can definitely send us Meltdown Comics address is publicly available on the Googles. Search it at meltcomics.com. And just say care of Torn Tuesday or The One Ring. Just put it to The One Ring, and it'll end up on my desk along with all the wonderful knitted caps that people have sent us over the years, and fan drawings. We appreciate everything. That someone even sent us cookies once.
The most delicious lembas. We've got lembas bread. We've had dwarven macrame beards sent to us. We've had... oh, are you getting Jurassic Park alerts?
That's the worst.
That's his geekdom, his super level of geekdom, even beyond Star Wars and his love of Lord of the Rings. His geekdom for Jurassic Park is ultra the biggest, world's biggest Jurassic fan. Michael Crichton is the one person you would most like to sit down and talk with.
I did.
You have.
I had 22 minutes with him. I have a signed copy. I have a signed copy of Jurassic Park.
Nuts. That's nuts. Do you really?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, when I love something, I go for it.
You do. You do. I love that. I like that about you.
You know, speaking of people that we love, it's been a wonderful. It's been a wonderful privilege here at Meltdown Comics.
Yes.
That we're able to interact with so many people. You've seen people drop in, and
yes.
but you know, a regular here has always been Robin Williams. He literally, if he was in town, he came every Wednesday or every Tuesday and bought the latest comics. He was here. We saw him many times, and you know, it was about a year ago when we were, you know, we said, hey, Robin, you should come on our show, so we could totally geek out for an hour.
Yes.
On Torn Tuesday. And he's
Yep.
like, you know, my daughter would probably like that more. I mean,
Yes.
She's a bigger geek than me. And sure enough, just a few months later, Zelda Williams, and you can go to our YouTube channel. Our interview with Zelda Williams, his daughter.
This was our first journalistic endeavor with the Williams family, but they were part of the existing house family of of Nerdist and Meltdown Comics for a very, very long time. You would come here on any casual day, and there's Robin walking around the aisles buying his comic books, just like anybody else. Like Omar over there, like me, browsing through really cool Marvel and DC books.
Not like me, because I don't read.
And he doesn't. I don't think you go shopping for comics here the way that we do. I just bought my, my new Sandman comic book, and you wander around, and who's there? Your favorite comedic actor that you never knew was a regular guy buying comics just like you. And I'll always remember that Robin Williams was here and was available to us, and he said, come and talk to my daughter, and we are the Williams, and we love all kinds of video games and comic culture and geek culture. We love this stuff, and they're so welcoming. And we had the most wonderful interview with a very talented, very intelligent young lady, Zelda Williams, and I'll never forget that interview.
But it was even
my heart is so broken for her, and I pray for her and her family to have some peace. And
she's a huge Robin was a huge Warhammer fan. He was a huge Tolkien fan, and that's what people don't understand. Like when we weren't joking when we posted on our Facebook page. Many times a conversation of what a treat it would be to see Baron and Luthien brought to the small screen, as a series, Game of Thrones style.
Yep.
And what would the merry adventures of Legolas and Gimli be like? As another television series or movie series. He knew his stuff. He read the Silmarillion at least once every couple years. Robin Williams loved Tolkien and was a huge fan of all things geek, and and not only that, more than anything though, he loved comedy. Yes. And there's several. He did several nights here at Meltdown. They have a theater downstairs with Nerdist, the Nerd Melt Theater, where they do comedy shows every single night, 7 nights a week. And once in a while, I'd see him here so many times. We'd be finishing up the show, or I'd be preparing shirts for our next convention. And, and he would just pop in and after the crowds had come in and settled in their seats and the show had just started, he'd just kind of walk on in and just sit in the back, just by himself, with nobody around. He didn't have bring anybody with him, and he would just take in the show. And you could see, he wouldn't laugh at everybody. A guy like that, he's probably heard every joke under the sun. But when comedians on stage made him laugh, his laugh was so infectious. Like, you could hear him. There's tons of stories that people have been posting and reading how he was very soft-spoken and just kind of humble. But when he started laughing, the whole crowd would hear it.
Yes.
And his laugh would pierce through a sold-out crowd, and it would hit the performer. And you'd hear it, and you could see whoever was on stage. And we're talking some big name. He would come and see some of his big name friends like Bobcat Goldthwait, or Dana Carvey, or Dana Gould.
I love those guys.
Or he would come on open mic nights where it was nobody's, like literally people that have not done anything but anything. They just wanted to get up on stage and try their hand for once. At comedy, and he when you heard him laugh, and you just see the smile, this grinning smile, and you've probably seen it in several of his movies where he's just like a smile breaks through his face, and it's permanently locked for the next 20 minutes, and you'd see that, and you'd see on the stage the performer react to that. And suddenly their confidence, their chest would go out, their shoulders would go back, and they'd deliver the punchlines even stronger. They'd go right into their material, louder and harder, By the end of the night, the whole room was in stitches, and basically, if you made Robin laugh, and it gave you the confidence as a performer to just kill the rest of the room.
Yeah.
And so he had that kind of energy.
I agree. He did.
He had that type of energy where even if he wasn't performing, just his presence could slay a room with comedy. Whatever energy he possessed and supernatural power that he has would just funnel through the biggest names and the smallest nobodies. And this is one of the reasons why for 15 years, I remember these debates in 1999 on our torn message boards, that there was only one choice to play Tom Bombadil. If Tom Bombadil,
that's ultimately what I wanted to talk about before the show was over.
If Tom Bombadil was ever going to be put to the big screen, in every language there was only ever one name ever associated with bringing Tom Bombadil to the screen. There's only one person that ever had the type of energy, power, and mischief required to bring that character to life.
Our audience member and one of our biggest supporters of our show, Pete Northrunner, he talked about it on our message boards on theonering.net a very long time ago, 15 years ago or 14 years ago, however long it was, when it became part of the conversation that Robin Williams was always the one that fan speculation went to first, that he would be the best and the only Tom Bombadil character. And I wonder if it was even mentioned by Peter Jackson. I'm sure that was probably mentioned somewhere in the hello, let there be light at the mention of Peter's name. The light switches around here are all kind of crazy. But wasn't it even mentioned by Peter in the audio, the director's commentary track on the extended editions?
I don't know. What do you know about that?
Well, I'm going to go look that up, unless one of our fans has also looked it up online faster than I can. But there never was a Tom Bombadil in these Peter Jackson filmic versions of Middle-earth. But it would have been, it just would have been such a cool thing if, he had shown up very briefly, just very briefly, as a cameo, just as a bit part. Because, in the history of the books, Tom Bombadil is the only character who can completely resist the power of the ring and is not even affected by the power of the ring. And even when he puts the ring on, he does not become invisible, and he's not subjected to that construct of magic and possession of Sauron's will that everybody else in Middle-earth is. And because Tom Bombadil seems to be outside of time and outside of the physical universe in a serious way, people have speculated that Tom Bombadil was the personification of Iluvatar, who is the one monotheistic god at the head of all the pantheon of deities in the Silmarillion. An idea that has long held sway with popular opinion in the fan community, actually. So wouldn't that be interesting to have Robin Williams play, a character who's just completely outside of Middle-earth, and yet seems to be the most, earthiest and realistic little song and dance man who's running through the forest with a yellow feather in his cap. I thought it would have been so awesome if he had gotten the chance to do it, but it never happened. Mm-hmm. But I'll always remember him as that, and I will.
Zelda said she had such a wonderful time on this show that she did tell her dad how wonderful your abilities are to manage a conversation and not let it devolve into anything superficial.
Lots of fan conversations back in 2003 about Tom Bombadil being played by Robin Williams. The conversation goes back over 11, 12 years now. People have been talking about this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, he had said in some of our many meetings, hey, how's it going here at Meltdown? That he would do our show one day, and we hoped that he would be back this fall to talk and talk about how what he would bring to a Tom Bombadil role. That would have been a wonderful conversation.
That would have been. That would have been.
So if you we can't we have to stress that a lot of people in our chat room have mentioned that depression is still a black hole that nobody wants to address, and I can't recommend enough. There's a podcast called WTFpod.com. Mark Maron, Maron, Mark Maron does a comedian's podcast, and he just reposted an interview he did a few years ago with Robin Williams, and it is the straightest interview you'll ever hear. It's only audio, but Robin talks about everything, and there's no jokes, there's no like masking, like masking the clown. It's probably the best thing you can listen to, and really appreciate that he was fully self-aware. He was self-aware in his role in society, and he was self-aware about his abilities. He was self-aware about his gifts that were outside of him.
Yes, so admirable that he was engaged on that level, and he was so self-actualized that he was at that level. Yeah, you're right, Justin. Quite.
Yeah. So he was
right.
He was operating at at an Aragorn level where he
was operating at a total Aragorn level of self-possessed of his faculties and aware of his faculties and best how to use them to bring the best effect to the world. Not many people like that.
No.
Not many people like that. That's great. I think perhaps you could do a better analogy to Aragorn than to Tom Bombadil with Robin Williams. That's funny. Never thought of that. But that's apropos.
So we're the loss is great. It's worldwide. It touches everybody, but it especially touches Tolkien fandom because not only did fans worldwide for many years picture him as, and not only as a character in Middle-earth,
yes,
as the most powerful, allegedly the most powerful character in Middle-earth. Some people have said Tom Bombadil could possibly be the most powerful.
Oh yes,
character.
But Tolkien's representation of him is inconsistent with any other physical being in the whole cosmology of Middle-earth.
And that describes...
Tom Bombadil has an outside place in other poetry and other pieces of writing that Tolkien did that were never part of Middle-earth. He was inspired by an odd little toy that one of his children had, and they tried to flush it down the toilet. There was mixed feelings with the Tolkien children about this little doll that had a little brown beard and a blue coat and a funny yellow hat with a feather in it. And I think his kids tried to flush the doll, and it was called Tom. And so Professor Tolkien wrote poems and comedy verses for Tom Bombadil, and he became the jokester, comedic little woodsman character that Tolkien played around with. The very fact that Professor Tolkien put Tom Bombadil in The Lord of the Rings at all is very strange. He is outside all of space and time, and many people have been connecting the thought that he would be like Zeus coming down off of Olympus to come and be manifest in disguise as an old man, to talk to Theseus and give him some advice in his training and blah, blah, blah when he was a young man. Well, maybe Tom Bombadil was there to guide and help advise Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin in that point in the story when they were without Gandalf, without Aragorn, without any guidance of any kind. And here you are, the presence of perhaps Ilúvatar himself, come down from, Mount Olympus, or the analogy being come down from, outside the world, from way beyond Valinor, beyond the circles of the world. Ilúvatar comes in, and he's showing up and puts Sauron's ring on, and Tom doesn't even turn invisible. He's not even affected by this crazy stuff. It's a fascinating idea. Well, I actually would have really loved to have seen Tom, or to see Robin Williams in a brief cameo in the third Hobbit film. Just seeing him run off in the distance with a whistle and a merry song in his voice. That would be so great to see Robin trotting off through the woods in the distance. Wouldn't that be great?
You know, the biggest I guess the thing that makes me saddest is that you know, the very few people knew how intelligent he was and how much of a geek he was, and you know, we were privileged enough because of our being here at Meltdown Comics to get a taste of that and experience that, and all we wanted to do is to bring that to the world. I wanted the world deserved to see Robin Williams and his abilities, his knowledge of Tolkien, and
yes,
you know,
yeah.
I think it's a great loss for everybody, for his family, especially for Zelda, and I think he had more to give. That's all. He had more to give, and
yes, sir, he did. Well said.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest artists leave with only one main work, with one particular work that they think is their main contribution, while some artists, you know, still have more to give. Some of them retire early in the literal sense, and some of them retire early by just taking their own personal choice to exit when they want to exit the world stage. Always heartbreaking.
You know, here's
I hate to see a brilliant artist leave us when he did have so much more to give. That breaks my heart.
Robin Williams was a big fan of the books and the movies. Here's how much of a fan he was. We can't make this up because we posted it. It's in the archives of TheOneRing.net.
Yes.
Midnight, Two Towers, December 2002. The Coronet Theater, San Francisco, the closest theater to Robin Williams' house. So at the Coronet, we were hosting one of our line parties with one of the co-founders of TheOneRing.net, Erica Tahanu, and
yes,
Mr. Robin Williams shows up just before the movie comes on at midnight. The Two Towers at midnight. And he comes in front of the audience, and he does a whole thing, and he's like, I'm just here to watch the movie with you. And then he ran into the middle of the audience where someone saved him a seat, and boom, Robin Williams sat and watched The Two Towers with all of the fans, unannounced, no press, no nothing. He was loyal and passionate.
How did you discover that little
it was
historical bit?
We posted it. You know, you know, as soon as the news broke, you know, we went to the archives, and because I just remember, I know how much of a fan he was. He must have come to an Oscar party or something. And sure enough, he actually showed up to the midnight show at the Coronet Theater for the TheOneRing.net line party, San Francisco, December 2002. He was legit. And
yeah,
that goes to show that he was just one of us, and you know, this is before everyone had a digital camera in their pocket.
Yeah.
So who knows if there's any pictures of the Two Towers premiere at the Coronet Theater.
That's just amazing,
because he was there.
He was indeed.
And so that's
what a brilliant
legit
connection.
It was legit. So that's all I have to say about that. And so I think you know, we're gonna continue the journey, and
as we all do, we all must live. You know, Mr. Robin Williams, he lived a beautiful, beautiful dream, and now that his dream is over, we are here to support Zelda and everyone else in the Williams family, and we're here to bring more affection for Tolkien and his powerful storytelling to all these people online, and we're very, very happy to bring everyone together.
So yeah, we'll be reposting our wonderful interview with Zelda.
Yes, we will,
on our YouTube channel. In the meantime, check out our interview with the on TheOneRing.net with the head of the Tolkien Society,
Mr. Sean Gunner.
It's a wonderful, wonderful conversation, and it's great to hear perspectives from probably the biggest Tolkien fan group Not lying. They're the best. They're the biggest and the best. And
Yes, they are.
And you know, keep on theonering.net as information for the extended edition DVDs keep trickling in. We still don't have enough information to put together our DVD cheat guide, but we already know that there's 3 different covers for The Hobbit extended edition Desolation of Smaug. We've already received 3 covers and 2 exclusives, but we know there's more coming.
And there's one with a Weta figurine, isn't there?
Yes, and I think there will be one with a Lego. So,
Do we have the release date?
November 4th or something like
November 4th.
that. Yes.
Yeah, November 4th.
So
I guess in a couple of countries it'll be November 3rd. For us, it should be November 4th. I guess that's because that falls on a Tuesday, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
What
very good.
you know, what does he say in Hook? Death is just another adventure, or is that Lord of the Rings? I can't remember.
That's what Gandalf says to Pippin, or something. You're paraphrasing something.
Well, what does Peter Pan and Hook say?
I don't recall.
Death is the greatest adventure.
No, I don't remember. Do you? Do you
Uh,
guys remember one of? Omar remembers.
Death is the only adventure you have left. Death is the only adventure you have left.
Death is the only adventure you have left.
For most people, that might be true, but not for him. He had all. He still had a lot to give, but the candles that shine brightest, something.
Yeah,
Quickest.
they do burn out.
So
And
thanks for joining us.
I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you for being part of our audience.
Thanks for bringing up our Fangirls documentary. We're going to keep on keeping on, and the project isn't dead, and we may relaunch it. We may relaunch it pretty soon. So let's we're going to keep the dream alive, and because some tales do not deserve to go unfinished.
Agreed. Agreed.
My name's Justin.
And I'm Clifford. You can follow me on Twitter at QuickBeam2000. And I was very pleased that Dwalin the Dwarf, was my 2000th follower on Twitter.
Oh, that's
my number
wonderful.
2000 was actually...
I think I have 20.
It's a character pretend account, and the person who's tweeting is constantly in the voice and in the character as Dwalin. He's got the brogue, he's got the comments and the jokes, and Dwalin is a great character who's like, just follow me, my 2000th person.
Your Fangirls ring is coming. We're working on all the rewards right now, like all 10 of them. So thank you for your support, Dwena.
Thank you, Florence. We love you, dear.
So good.
Very nice to have you here on board.
And
follow him at Justin's Big Idea.
No,
and
just follow the One Ring
at QuickBeam2000, and also follow at TheOneRing.net. Don't hide your head in shame, Justin.
Why not?
Because we love you too.
Aww.
Lots of love for everybody. Be at peace, everyone. Be at peace with yourselves and be gentle with yourselves. Good night, and until next week. Okay?
See ya.
Bye for now.
How long are we supposed to look in the camera?